Welcome to Tia's Table, where we talk about making fitness and wellness doable for busy women like you and me. Looking for healthy meal ideas, workout motivation, and good conversation? Don't worry, I got you, girl. Sit back, grab a snack, and let's have some girl talk. Hey girl, hey, welcome back to another episode of Tia's Table. I'm Tia, a certified group fitness instructor and nutrition coach. I help women develop healthy habits that align with their health, wellness, and fitness goals. If you or someone you know is interested in living a healthier lifestyle, feel free to reach out to me. You can do that by messaging me on Instagram at TiaVFitness, or you can email me at tiavfitness@gmail.com. It is the end of May, and I feel like May is one of those months that if you have children in grade school, girl, especially if the last day of school is in May, which for us, that's the case, you get turned every which way but loose by the end of the month. And that is where I'm at. When I mean to tell you, if you ask me for it, I don't have it. And when I say that, I mean everything. I don't have the energy. I don't have the capability. I don't have the mental space. I don't have the patience. I don't have none of it. And I think it's going to come back to me in June. But right now for the month of May, I'm tapped out. I've met my quota. And I'm going to spend the last few days of May just trying to figure out where do I go from here. And I do have a plan for that we're going to talk about later on in this episode. But for now, let's talk about what is on my table, because we have quite a few different things we're going to talk about today. But for now, let's talk about what is on my table this month. So on the last episode that I don't think I even posted because I was so busy, I'm going to try to turn my mic down. Because I was so busy, I didn't get a chance to post that one yet, but I'm going to share it because I do feel like it was a good episode. I talked about wanting to make this Manhattan clam chowder-esque soup, but like with my own spin on it. And I ended up making it last week, and it was so good, y'all. Like, oh my gosh. It was so good that when I ran out of it, I was like sad. I was distraught. I was beside myself. I didn't know what to do. And I thought about making a whole nother pot of it, but then I was just also kind of like, girl, no, that's a little bit much. Hold on one second. I'm going to move my mic. I think I tried a new thing with my microphone, and I think that was way too close to my mouth. But anyway, I made this soup that ended up being so good. Okay, so first, I started by making just stewed okra and tomatoes, right? I based the base of this soup off of the recipe from the Jubilee cookbook. Remember, I talked about how I'd gone to a dinner party and that was the dish that I took, and it was so good. I was so happy with it. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to let that recipe inspire me to like turn this into something else. So I made the stewed okra and tomatoes the way they tell you to in the Jubilee cookbook, right? Then I added clam juice and chicken stock, and I added some golden potatoes, and I let all of that like cook so slow and so good together. I developed the flavors low and slow. I seasoned it spicy the way that I like it. So good. I added the clams, and when I mean to tell y'all that soup was good, it was good. And I made some fresh focaccia bread to go with it because, of course, why not? And this time when I made the focaccia bread, I didn't do like the overnight rise, and that's the way I had been doing it. So if you've ever seen me on social media with focaccia bread, or you have been at my house and I gave you some, that bread did like a 24 to probably 48 hour rise in the refrigerator. This time I made it like just straight through. Like it did do like a quick rise on the counter. I think it was maybe like 2.5 hours to 3 hours maybe that it sat on the counter while I was like making the soup. And then by the time the soup was ready, so was my dough, popped it in the oven. It only takes about 30 minutes to cook focaccia bread. So like it was just perfect, like the perfect meal. Oh my gosh. Can't even express like to you all like how delicious it was. And if I may, it also might be in the running to be my new flat tummy pot of food. I always really give that to like chickpea stew, but really this one I think might have it beat. I don't know if it's the okra or the tomatoes or both of them together, but the way that that soup tackles bloat and leaves you just feeling so good cannot be understated here. It was just so good, and it really did agree with my body. So if you like okra, if you like tomatoes, if you like clams, if you like a good Manhattan clam chowder, girl, try it. I will eventually get around to putting this in a recipe, which I don't even think I can do that though, because I didn't measure anything. Like I can tell you the ingredients that I used, and then you just have to let the ancestors speak to you. And maybe that's how I'm gonna start giving out these recipes. I'm gonna just start saying at this point, we've got to trust that we know what we're doing in the kitchen. And I'll tell you, I used okra, I used tomatoes, I used garlic, I used a little bit of bacon fat, I used onions, I used clam juice, chicken stock, and then of course the gold potatoes and clams. And that's it. And you just cook that thing low and slow. Oh, but then to season it, of course, I use like kosher salt, black pepper, and Tony's. So good. Oh, and a little bit of red pepper flakes. Absolutely delicious. So good. And because that was so good, I said to myself the next day, well, because I wanted to do like an end of the school year thing for my kids, I was like, oh, you know what would go really great with this? Like as a dinner, like I could serve this soup and then I could serve dinner. I should make my kids like a crab boil, like a low country boil, right? Because they love crab legs. I don't know a child that doesn't, but they love crab legs. So I'm like, yes, I will do a low country boil. So I get all the things you need for that. And it was probably the best low country boil I have ever made. And I've made several, but you know, every time you do something, you try to get it more right than you did the last time. This time I got it right. I always use like the Zatarain's crab boil, like liquid stuff that comes in that little bottle. I always use that. And, you know, you always season your stuff and you use chicken stock and water and but you do all of that. This time I added a Blue Moon beer to the pot. And I think that something about that made the seasoning and all the other things just work together, like the lemon that was in there. All of it just did so well this time. I would bite into an ear of corn and it literally tasted like Blue Moon beer. Like it was absolutely delicious. So I've had a couple good meals coming out of this kitchen over the past couple of days. Despite how tired I am, the food here has been like 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. And tonight I'm teaching my daughter how to make my famous fettuccine Alfredo, the one that she likes to take to school every day for lunch. She's going to learn how to make that tonight because the way she likes to eat fettuccine Alfredo, she needs to learn how to make it because I don't always have it in me. And today is one of those days where I'm like, ooh, girl, I don't have it in me. So I placed the Instacart order. Someone was nice enough to deliver those groceries to me right before I called y'all. So when we get off the phone, I'm going to go down there and I'm going to walk her through step by step how to make chicken Alfredo. And it's so easy, even a 14-year-old can do it. And I have high hopes for her. So anyway, was that all that I had for Tia's table? And because we are on summer break and we have already reached that point in the 5 days that they have been home on summer break, we've already reached that point in our summer where people are like, can I have this? Can I have that? Can I have a snack? Can I have a bowl? Can I? And I'm like, we just ate 35 minutes ago. Like we just ate. And so I said to myself, you know what? When I was watching The Duchess, she was making like crudité for her kids, right? So that I guess when they come home from school, they can graze and snack or whatever. She says she just makes them in the morning and people can graze and snack on them all throughout the day. I said, now, Duchess, I'm not going to do like a platter and sit it out on my counter all day because I don't think that that's going to work for me for a couple different reasons. But I don't think that's going to work for me. But what I can do is I can take their little bento boxes that they use when they go to school for lunch, and I can fill those with the crudité, or I can make them their own little charcuterie, as I called it in the digital magazine, a charcuterie for them. And I think the rule is going to be, of course, I'm going to serve you some meals. I'm going to feed you because I'm your mother. But before you ask me for a snack, make sure that bento box is empty. And I'm going to put veggies and fruits in it. Maybe, I'll give them all of them don't like cheese, but for the kids that like cheese, I'll put that in there for you. Maybe we'll do like some pieces of focaccia bread, or, I don't know. Whatever. I'm going to talk to them about it, obviously, and I'm going to make sure that I fill their bento boxes with things that they actually like. I'm not just going to whatever to them. But, yeah, I'm like, that's what we're about to do. So y'all are about to eat some bell peppers and some cucumbers. Y'all going to be dipping your little veggies in some sauces, something, before you start going in that pantry and eating junk food. Because I can't have you sit here all summer and just graze through that pantry in a way that you wouldn't normally be able to do because you would be at school. So keep me in your T's and P's on that. It should go over fairly well. It should go over just fine because one of my kids is actually like a salad person. So I know they'll be fine. Those other two are going to really have probably a tough time with this. But you know what? As the summer progresses and we move through the days, before you go back to school, I'll bet you be a little vegetable eating somebody, which is really what I need for you to be. So that by the time you go back to school, we can get back into our regular dinner time schedule. And people won't be hemming and hawing about the stuff that's on the dinner menu because they have recently started doing that. Now that they're growing up and they're developing like preferences and tastes for different things, I'm starting to get a little bit more feedback in the diner than what I would like. And sometimes the feedback is about the menu, not necessarily about the flavor profiles of anything, but it's just the menu in general. And to that I say, you don't buy groceries, so... And I know what's best for you. Like I know these Brussels sprouts are going to be good for you. So you just need to sit down and eat them. And in order to get them back to a place where they're eating those Brussels sprouts without all of that feedback, we're going to be doing some crudité up in here this summer. So I just want to thank the Duchess again for giving me all of those good ideas. I will be passing them along to my family. Thank you very much. Okay. So let's start chipping away at these topics because I have quite a few of them that I would like to try to get through. I think, and I know we have spoken about Jennifer Lopez on before, right? We have, when she was engaged to Ben this last time and she was making the movie and it was a lie and it was too much. We all talked about it. We all got our giggles out about it. We all thought like, ooh, J-Lo girl, like don't go out like this. And it's fine. Like we all know the status of their relationship now. We got that. We also know that if we're going to go there, we know that Jennifer Lopez has not always sang all of her songs. We know that. And we think the people who actually sang them should be fairly compensated for the work that they did so that J-Lo can be the star that she is. Now, we can't say nothing about that girl and her ability to bring a rom-com to life because an actress, she is. She does that very well. So there's that. And we also can't say too much about Jennifer when she dresses up. Because when she dresses up, she puts it on. And we love her for that, right? Okay, so with all of that being said, now that the disclaimers are out of the way, we're not here to talk about any of that. We're here to talk about her and her hosting the AMAs. The American Music Awards were just the other night, and she hosted them. Now, when she hosted them, she opened the show by doing a dance number to like all of the hits of this previous year. And I need to move my leg because I'm 41 sitting on the floor. Okay, so she opened the show doing a dance number. It was like a 6-minute, almost a 7-minute like medley of songs, and she danced really hard for the whole 7 minutes. She got picked up, she got twirled around, she was flipped over, she kissed some people, like it was a lot. And so I go to Threads just because, you know, I always want to see what the people are going to say about what the people are doing. And one of the first things that I see is a thread about about her dancing. Right? It wasn't about anything else. And it was kind of a thread about her dancing. And then underneath there were comments from people saying like, who asked for this? Why is she doing this? Blah, 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 blah. I actually want to find the thread just so that we're all on the same sheet of music with what she was doing. But when I saw it, I was just like, dang, can the girl not dance? Because that's what she started out doing. She was a fly girl. And sometimes I think these people are just super young that get on the internet and say these things. Okay, so the thread said the AMAs really booked J-Lo to dance around to other people's hits. And they did like the little cringe face emoji, right? Okay, and when I saw that, I said, well, first of all, she is a dancer. She was a dancer first and foremost. And for the most, she was a dancer before she was anything else. But then that got me to thinking about how people really do think, I believe, and I don't know if this is just because it's J-Lo or what, but I'm like, I really do think people have an issue with women of a particular age still doing things that people associate with younger women. I'm like, why shouldn't she be able to still dance and do or whatever? Or maybe it's just that people don't like Jennifer Lopez. And as I'm saying this out loud, I think that's the case. Because I'm pretty sure if Beyonce was opening the AMAs and she decided to actually hit a 5, 6, 7, 8 the way she used to, people would like it would still be going viral on the internet. I'm sure. So maybe it is the fact that people just don't like Jennifer Lopez. But even if that's the case, I'm like, does not liking somebody, do y'all really dislike people? This is a better way to present this. Do y'all really dislike people to the point where you don't even want to see them like living out their wildest dream? Because when you think about it, that girl started out as a dancer. She was a fly girl on In Living Color. Now she is Jennifer Lopez opening the American Music Awards, dancing to the greatest hits of the year. And I know for her, that probably is like a full circle moment. And I mean, I know she's performed more than just at the AMAs recently, but I'm like, that probably is like a dream come true, full circle situation for her. And for her to do it, knowing people kind of can't stand her, I can't do anything but give her all of the applause for that. Because it's got to be one thing to do it, to just do it, like to remember all that stuff, not be afraid, not mess up, hit your marks, whatever. It's one thing to just do it. And it's quite another thing to do it in a room full of vultures. Is it not? Because you know, in that room, there were people who feel just like the people on the internet. Like, who asked her to do this? Why is she relevant? Blah, 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 blah. And so then she announces that she's having a Vegas residency. And it's going to be like during the holiday season. And then people were talking about that. And I'm like, well, now, hold on. Because when the girl was on tour, and y'all wasn't buying the tickets for that, because I know I didn't buy a ticket. But when no one was buying tickets for that, y'all were like, oh, she needs to do a Vegas residency. Why is she trying to do a big tour? Like, J-Lo, no one's checking for you like that. Now she's doing a Vegas residency, and people are picking on her for that. And, at the end of all of these shows, I always say, like, never knock another woman's hustle. I'm like, why are we knocking the hustle? Do people really dislike her? Or the idea of someone like her doing what they love to do to the point where they don't want to see her do anything? That's really crazy to me, because I'm like, J-Lo is in her 50s. So when I see her dancing and hitting all those marks and getting picked up and thrown all over the place, when I see that, I'm like, wow, when I'm 50, I hope my balance and my coordination is enough for me to even still do boots on the ground. I'm not even going to hold you. Because first of all, 50 is not old. But 50 looks different on everybody, depending on what you've been doing leading up to the 50. And for J-Lo, her 50, literally, whether you like the choreography or not, because I know there's lots of criticism to how she danced to Kendrick Lamar's music, right? So we're not here to critique that, because a dancer, I used to be. A choreographer, I never was, and I'm certainly not one now. So the art aside, the fact that she could even do any of that, I mean, come on. Can we not be happy for her just living the dream? Because isn't that what we tell each other all the time? That like, girl, go for it. Girl, you should do it. Like, girl, do your thing. Don't be too scared to do it. You may as well do it. They're going to talk about you anyway. And you know what? Jennifer Lopez is a living example of that. Girl, you may as well do it because the people going to talk about you anyway. And she might be the master of, girl, go ahead and do it because they're going to talk about you regardless. She really might be. She really might be the master of that. And I think there's something to take away from that. I think it's something to take away from it. And that was the whole reason that I brought it up today on the call. I'm like, what can we learn from this? What we can learn from this is sometimes you need the audacity to believe that you deserve to live your dream. Number one, regardless of what the people gonna say, that if you work hard enough, you can absolutely realize whatever dream you have, and that your age and whatever your history might be, no matter how your life is played out, at any time, you can really still show up as her, like as that girl. Because one thing she's going to always be is one of them girls. She really is. And I think that's kind of what people dislike about her, is that she really is. Like when she's in love and she's in love big and it's all over the place. And when she breaks up, it's big and it's all over the place, but she never misses a beat. Never misses a beat. Maybe at home in the quiet of the shadows in her home somewhere. Maybe she is sitting somewhere eating a pint of gelato. Maybe she is. But public facing Jennifer Lopez, baby, she stay with it. She stay ready. She's beat and she's on beat all the time. And I really do love that for her. I really do also want Ashanti to get paid for whatever songs she sang that J-Lo has been lip syncing to all these years. I want that too, but you got to give credit where it's due. And the woman really did open that show, and she opened it well. And I personally believe that as we age, we might want to consider having just a smidge of J-Lo's belief in herself and her audacity to continue to dream and continue to live her dreams out loud. Because, oh my gosh, what is the alternative to that? I mean, I know what the alternative is to it, but I think it's different for everybody, so I'm going to leave it open-ended. What is the alternative to that? What would it be? What would it be? Speaking of women of a particular age, something else that I saw online, or that I've been seeing online recently, is this whole conversation about women lifting heavy. You should be lifting heavy. You should be lifting heavy. Anytime someone says, oh, my fitness routine isn't working for me. What am I doing? I'm perimenopausal. I'm this, I'm that. The first thing you'll see somebody in those comments say is, oh, you need to be lifting heavy. You need to go pick up something heavy. You need to be doing heavy, heavy, heavy. So put a pin in that. Let's remember that. A few weeks ago on Threads, I read a article about how running increases cortisol. And so that maybe it's a good idea for women to not be like running as much. If you're trying to lose weight and you feel like you're a runner, but you're not losing any weight, basically the article was saying, girl, running might not be for you because it's literally keeping your cortisol spiked, right? And there were some things in that article that were a little bit questionable. And I certainly don't prescribe to a one size fits all declaration for anything in the fitness world. So when I read that, I was just like, well, yeah, that might be true for some people, but for some women, clearly they're running every day and they're fine, right? But what that article made me think of was, now, if y'all are going to say this about running, the same can also be true for weightlifting. Because I also hear y'all telling every woman over 40 they should be lifting heavy, lifting heavy, lifting heavy. And I was thinking about my time with my trainer. And because anytime I spend what I consider to be a lot of money on something and I don't get what I feel like I wanted out of that money, I'm going to think about it for quite some time so that I know how to not end up there again. But for whatever reason, I thought about that and I was like, well, you know what? Maybe that's why my time with the personal trainer didn't go the way that I thought it was going to go. Because I was lifting heavy 5 days a week, 4 to 5 days a week. And maybe that was increasing my cortisol. And maybe that did not work for me. Like that just wasn't a good fit for me. And I think that is the case for some women. Just like that article was saying, that's the case for women who run. While I certainly don't believe that, I think it's probably true for some. I think the same can be said for heavy lifting. That heavy lifting is not suitable or agreeable for every woman over 40. Like you just can't make a blanket statement about heavy lifting like that for everybody. And so I had a friend pose this question on Threads, and the responses that she received, well, first of all, the responses that she received didn't have nothing to do with the question that she posed, right? So let's start there. George Bush really left some of y'all behind. And for the ones he left behind, we see y'all every day on the internet, because you read something and it's like you never read it at all. But then you start responding. And I say to myself, these are the children who did not go back to the passage to find the answer. Like when we were all doing statewide testing, or you had to do your little reading comprehension test in class, and your teacher would say to you before the test, now, if you don't see the answer, or if you don't remember the answer or whatever, go back to the passage and find it, right? Read the question, then go back to the passage. Some people, I really think, read things on the internet, then they just start typing. They start typing before they go back and read again to make sure that they are responding to what has actually been said or asked. So her post really didn't get the responses that I think she needed. But what everybody basically ended up trying to say was that, like, oh yes, everybody should be lifting heavy, everybody. And of course, not just because she's my friend, but as a fitness professional, I definitely responded and was like, hey, while the term heavy is definitely relative, right? It means something different to everybody. What she is saying here is that lifting in general just might not be for everyone, right? Some people truly need to find something else to do. They just do. And I say that because in my own personal fitness journey, when I was lifting heavy, I did lose 12 pounds because I went back and I found my printouts from that machine that I was using to like tell all my business. I went back and I looked at them and I'm like, oh, okay, during my time with that trainer, I lost 12 pounds and that's fine. We love that, right? I lost 12 pounds, but I physically appeared bigger, right? Like bulkier. My shirts definitely fit tighter around my biceps. Like I was truly bulking up. I was not slimming down. Even though I lost weight, I was burning fat, but my muscles were definitely getting bigger. And that was never my goal. right? And I think sometimes when people hear people talk about things like this, they kind of dismiss it, because to them it's kind of like, well, girl, you look fine and you still lost 12 pounds. So like, what are you complaining about? I'm complaining because it cost me thousands of dollars to work out with that personal trainer. And after a year of spending time with her, I still could not wear my button-up shirts. Like, I still couldn't do some of the things that I thought I would have been able to do after my time with her, right? Cut to now. And as we know, we've done a few rounds of 75 hard. Y'all know I'm doing Pilates now, and I'm just not lifting weights. When I do lift weights, it's either in Pilates class and I'm using a 3 or a 5 pound dumbbell, or I'm at home and I'm basically doing the same stuff I would do in Pilates. And the heaviest I might do at home might be 15 or 20 pounds. And that's maybe for one exercise, because I know what that one exercise does. Like, I know what body part it works. And because I want to see a more like sculpted, beautiful back, I will do one particular exercise with heavier weights. But in the grand scheme of my fitness routine right now, I'm not lifting heavy anymore. I'm a total Pilates princess right now. And the only way that will probably change is when my body says it's no longer responding to this, and then I'll move on to something else, right? But I've gotten great results from that, right? Like, I'm back into all of my clothes. I wore one of my button-up shirts that I use as like a tester. I wore it last week to one of these, it was the 8th grade graduation, actually. So I'm in my stuff now, and that feels really good to me. So I share that to say, strength training is what people want to aim for. You want to aim to build strength. If you are strength training, you should also be turning fat into muscle, right? You should be sculpting your body. It will sculpt your body. Now, the difference is, of course, if you lift heavy and you're in the gym and you're doing those heavy weights, it might be a faster process of turning the fat into muscle. I will not negate that. I think that that's definitely a real thing, right? But if you find that you are doing that and you've been doing it for months and months and months, and you're not getting any change, no progress, no movement, your clothes still fit the same and all of that, I think people should be open-minded to doing something different. Like, the ability to pivot and change your mind is always there. It's always there. It's always there for you in your fitness routine. Just because the internet says something, just because your favorite influencer might be saying something, just because I might be saying something, just because your cousin or someone you know who just lost a lot of weight might tell you something that, they know for sure works for them. If you start doing it and you're a few months into doing it and it's not working for you, you're not seeing any change, and your food is like on point, because food could be the reason why something's not working. But if your food is on point, change your fitness routine. Try something else and see if it doesn't work for you. I also kind of think that within this whole heavy lifting conversation, there's this notion that if it's not heavy and I wasn't miserable while I was doing it, did I even work out? And I know that there are women out there that don't even like lifting weights. When y'all go to the gym, y'all don't even go into the weightlifting section, right? People do cardio and they go home. Because you either don't like lifting weights, or you don't like the way it feels being in the weight area, whatever it is, right? So again, if it's something that you just also flat out don't like doing, there's no shame in doing something else. As popular and as trendy as it sounds right now, definitely do give Pilates a shot. It is excellent strength training, and you can do it at home for free. The way sometimes my body is shaking and vibrating on my way home from Pilates, you would think that I had been lifting, super heavy weights. And just because you're choosing not to do that and you're doing something else, it doesn't mean that you can't, right? And I think that's the other thing. People just assume like, oh, because you might be like a yoga queen, or you might do some of the other popular like hot sculpt classes. And if you don't know what that is, when you see the videos online of like the people on yoga mats and they've got ankle weights and wrist weights on and they're like dripping in sweat doing exercises, that's like hot sculpt. That, or you might really love bar classes, and that's a really good workout too. But you might like bar classes. Maybe you are like a CrossFit person, or you really like calisthenics or whatever. But let's just say you're doing everything but lifting weights. There is no shame in that. Just because you're doing all these other things, it doesn't mean that you can't lift heavy. I can lift some really heavy things. I can pick up lots of things that are heavy. I could probably carry my oldest child, who was 14. I could probably put her on my back and walk a flight of steps if I wanted to. And she and I, well, we're not the same weight, but she's taller than me. Definitely taller than me. Definitely, she might be 100 pounds, let's say, give or take. Totally, she is. Definitely. I mean, I haven't weighed her in a long time. She's a teenager. I have no reason to weigh her, but I know she's at least 100 pounds. I know for a fact I could put her on my back and walk a flight of steps if I had to, or if I wanted to, just for, S's and G's. Just because you're not doing something, it doesn't mean that you can't. And I think that people forget that in our desire to figure out what's working for us or what's not working for us. We start just grabbing at all of the straws when really you can only drink one thing at a time anyway. So why you need all these straws? You don't. Which is why I always encourage people with your fitness journey anyway, just stay tunnel vision on you. Become an expert on you. I think it's great to be inspired by certain things. I think it's great to kind of learn what you can from fitness content for sure. But the best you're ever going to be is being an expert on yourself, right? The more of an expert you are on yourself, the better off you're going to be. The more you know about yourself, the better off you're going to be. Lifting heavy certainly is going to work for some people because we see it. We know it does. But if you are a perimenopausal woman and you know your hormones are going all over the place and you are lifting weights all the time, every day, and you feel like no matter what you do, you're just not losing any weight, please, my sister in fitness, put those weights down. Start walking every day for 45 minutes, right? And try doing any other type of strength training that might be low impact. So you might not feel like you're working out as hard because your body is strong. You've been lifting weights. So your body is strong, and mentally your body can handle more because it's been doing more. But maybe your body is saying to you, like, girl, I've done enough. It's been a long road to get to this point. I want to exercise and I appreciate the exercise, but let's just try something else and see how we do with something else that's not putting so much stress on my body. Exercise is going to be stress on your body no matter what, but there are levels to the stress. And if you can exercise and reach your goal without putting yourself under so much stress, why wouldn't you do it? People like to pick on, women for their little matching two-piece outfits, and you're walking into yoga, or you're walking into hot sculpt, or you're going to a bar class, you might be taking Pilates, whatever. People like to pick on people like that. But the reality of it is that I'm getting a fantastic workout. And when I leave that fitness class, I can still actually go do something else. Like I can run errands. I can come home and walk. I can come home and run if I wanted to. I can come home and ride my Peloton. Like I'm not so banged up, beat up, and chronically sore that the next day I have to have a rest day. It's why I'm able to work out as much as I do now, because I'm never sore to the point where I can't, because my muscles, while they are getting a great workout and my body is definitely sculpting into something that I'm loving, I'm not beating it to death anymore. And I don't have to take hot baths every night. I don't have to get my massage gun out anymore and like drill myself before I go to sleep, because I'm just not beating my body up in that way. And I feel like the results that I've gotten from, number one, learning how to feed myself properly, that's been huge. Number two, walking, of course, we're always going to do that. But number three, doing strength training that isn't bulking me up, because it just was. And I don't care what anybody says about that. That workout program that I was doing was bulking me up. It just was. And when you think about it, when you're trying to lose weight, you're also eating a lot of protein. So I was eating a lot of protein and I was lifting weights. And for some people, those two things might not slim you down. I'm a living example. So if you feel like that is also happening to you, know that it's nothing that you're doing wrong, girl. We just got to pivot and try something else. Pivot and try something else. And then also, everybody that is on the internet is not an expert. And I don't care. I don't care how much weight they lost. I don't care how they lost their weight. If they are not someone who has either earned some type of certification or they work in the fitness industry with a scope of practice that legally allows them to do so, I don't think we should be listening to everybody. I don't think we should be listening to everybody. Now, it's one thing to be talking to a friend and she's like, oh my gosh, yeah, girl, I tried so-and-so. And then you say to yourself, okay, duly noted, I might try so-and-so. That's one thing. But listening to a random person on the internet who you do not know from a can of paint or a speck of dirt, I don't think we should be listening to those people anymore. But like, God bless them on their journey. I'm glad they found what works for them. But I think now that we are just women who know better, I feel like we should take what we know and just do better and become experts on ourselves and not worry about like the status quo and what people say you should have to do. And I saw that Mel Robbins video and I shared it recently just because, but even on that Mel Robbins podcast clip where that person, I don't even know if she a doctor. I would have to check in my phone. She might be. But she was talking about lifting heavy. I just want to say one more time before we switch to the next topic. Lifting you would be lifting heavy. I just want to say that. You can work out with no weights at all, doing push-ups, doing sit-ups, lifting your legs, like laying down on the floor, lifting your legs up and down. That's lifting heavy. Our bodies are not light. So you literally do not have to do that if it is not working for you. Now, if you're lifting heavy weights and it's working for you, do not DM me. Girl, you keep lifting your weights and I love that for you. But for people who might need to pivot or change your mind or just try something new, I see you. I'm validating your feelings. Girl, try something else and keep trying the next thing and the next thing and the next thing until you figure out what works for you. Okay, and we will get there. We will get there. Speaking of things that work for me, now that it is officially summer at my house, starting in June, I am preparing myself to have what I'm going to call the best self-care summer ever. And I had to think about this long and hard before I called everybody about it. Because I'm like, ooh, I really don't know how I want to present this. I know a few podcast episodes ago, I talked about doing like a 75 rest, like a 75 hard challenge, but it was all about like self-care and just resting. And I thought that was great. And that definitely inspired this that we're about to talk about right now. But what my personal challenge is in my real life is not having the best summer ever. Like, I have a great summer. We go to the beach. I don't have to wake up early. I do all the things I want to do. Like, that's not the issue. The issue with me is keeping that same energy once school starts back. I am never able to keep that same high level of like self-care, fun, and joy going once the school year starts again. And I have got to figure out how to do that. I think it would be good for me. And I know I'm not alone. If you've got children in school, I don't care how many kids you got. If you got kids in school, like me, you probably welcome the last day of school, even if you work outside the home. I know when you work from home, it's kind of like, okay, well, now the kids are home and like, how am I still work with these children here doing the things, and you got to take them to camp and that. And so sometimes summer can still be very busy for people, especially people who work from home. Now, if you work outside of the home and you are at work all day, then it's kind of like the same thing. It's kind of like, are my kids going to camp? Are they staying? Are they old enough to stay home while I'm at work? Whatever it is. But even with all of the busyness of the summer, there's still that underlying calm that comes with the kids not being in school, because we're also not worried about academic success during the summer when kids are at home, right? Like, you're not worried about deadlines and projects and class dojo and all of that stuff. So I said to myself, I need to figure out how to make summer me like year-long me. Like, how can I do that? And I said, well, Tia, I think the first thing you should try to do is implement some type of 75 hard challenge that is centered around rest, joy, fun, self-care, and all those things, right? Because I do know that the 75 days of it all really does help people form true good habits. So I said, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Now, we don't have a 75-day summer break here where we live. These kids be back in school way too soon. And I secretly believe that the children that live here are in year-round school, but no one says it in their outside voice. No one says it in their outside voice, so I'm going to say it in mine. If you live where I live, I think our children are in year-round school, which is fine with me. Like, I don't even care. But at least respect me enough to say it to my face, right? Anyway, because their summer break is not that long, I'm like, okay, let's go for 75 days, but a part of me wants to say 100 days just because I know all of the summer challenges are like 100 days of summer, 100 miles to this, 100. So let's start June 1st. And let's go until Labor Day, because I feel like Labor Day is kind of like the unofficial end of summer. I mean, it's not when you live in Georgia because it's still hot, but you know what I'm trying to say. Most children are back in school by summer or by Labor Day. And because my children go back to school when they go back to school, that time frame will give me the opportunity to practice some of these things while they're back in school, but before the school year takes that ugly turn when it's like serious. You know, August is still kind of light and we're just kind of getting reintroduced to the thought of being back in school. By October, like, they really do be in school for real, right? So I feel like that's a good time frame. June 1st to Labor Day, I want to focus on rest, fun, joy, and self-care. How do I plan to do that? Well, I would normally make a list, but I feel like if I make a list, then that adds a certain amount of pressure that I feel like is not healthy for me. Because then I have to check all the things off the list instead of just going with the flow. And I do feel like I'm a person that needs to get reacquainted with going with the flow. That's part of it being fun, right? So some of the things that I want to do over the summer, I've already started doing some of them. As you know, I've been doing my potted garden, and that has brought me an immense amount of joy. And I'm already reading books and planning how to do a bigger garden for maybe either the fall season or like next spring, because I like going and checking on my garden. I like bringing the produce inside. I like watering in the evenings. Like, I like the whole thing. I love it. And I'm trying to figure out how to truly do it on a larger scale in a way that makes sense based on how our property is set up, right? So there's that. So I definitely plan to do that. I do really love like cooking and baking. So I'm like, oh, I got to do more of that. I got to get into the mood of like being in the kitchen over the summer, at least maybe once a week, because I try not to cook too much over the summer too, because I need a break. I do that a lot when they're in school. So over the summer, I try not to do it as much because I'm like, this is my turn to have a break too. But that does not mean that maybe I can't cook some of the fun things that I wouldn't normally cook during the school year because they're time consuming. So I'm like, yeah, let's cook a little more over the summer. I really want to get out of my house more over the summer. And when I say get out of my house, I mean anything. I want to go places and just dilly-dally, browse, buy, do, sip, see, linger. I want to do all those kinds of things, and it doesn't have to be anything on a grand scale. I'm fine with doing the full spectrum of dilly-dallying. Sometimes we dilly-dally and it's at Home Goods, and that's fine. Sometimes we dilly-dally at the High Museum. We don't know, but we want to dilly and dally as much as we possibly can over the summer. Of course, over the summer, I would like to see the sand in the ocean. I definitely plan to. I actually love doing the kids' vacation over the summer because for what it's worth, I do have pretty low maintenance, very chill children who like what they like, and they make that very clear. So it's very easy to travel with them. And I enjoy going to the beach with them. So I'm like, I know that's going to be fun. When it comes to the self-care, though, I really do want to maybe dig a little bit deeper into building a better skincare routine. I feel like I've gotten some really great products going, but I would like to see an esthetician because that's something that I had kind of wanted to do when they were in school, but just could never really find the time. So I would like to see an esthetician over the summer and see if I can't get a good plan in place for myself because I am starting to develop some redness. Might not remember this, but a few years back when I thought that I needed to do that thing to my eyebrows, that gave me a little bit of redness on my forehead that never went away. Like, I don't know what it aggravated there, but it definitely aggravated something. And so now I have to conceal this little spot of red on my forehead every day. Well, not every day because I don't do it every day, but like, when I'm going somewhere and I want to look pulled together, I will conceal that little spot of red. So like I would like to get more into my skincare routine this summer. I would just like to do more of the things that I would like to do in an effort to have truly a really great self-care summer where I'm focusing more on taking care of myself. I'm actually creating the time to take a hot bath, not because I'm super sore, but just because I want to, because that was something that was actually one of my goals for 2025. It was on my bingo card to create some type of bath ritual. I still have the whole second half of the year to figure that out for myself. So a lot of those type of things. I guess what I'm trying to say is I want to slow my own life down so that I can actually enjoy it. Because I really do feel like the school year propels you forward. The school year and work dictate the rate at which you live, right? It controls the pace of your day. If work is super busy, then you end up working through the day to the point where you forget to eat, right? If your kids are in some type of after school activity, then it's like you go through work and you really never had time for yourself. Then as soon as you get off work, now you're at basketball practice. You're at basketball practice. And when that's over, you realize like, oh my gosh, it's 7:00 and I never even like got that second bottle of water, or I never got lunch, or I never even just took a second to just breathe, right? I never did that because the day propelled me forward, and I want to start being more in control of my day and how my day feels to me. So I've got to figure out how to just slow all of that down. Just slow it down, slow it down, slow it down, slow it down. So we'll see And of course, I'm going to invite everybody to do this summer challenge with me, where we really share our joy and our fun and what we're doing for self-care. And this is, by the way, this is not fitness related. This is not one of my, oh, you need to work out and eat right, and then on top of that, do all these other things too. No, this is truly, if you, and I'm going to say it, and so that it's recorded and people can play it back to me in case I act like I never said it. If you want to fully abandon working out for the summer, because the summer is already here. The summer is going to be what it's going to be anyway. If you want to fully abandon working out over the summer in an effort to build a more well-rounded wellness routine for yourself, I'm here for it. And I completely understand that choice, because wellness is a big part of fitness. And it helps reduce your stress levels. And if you have found, just like I said before with the whole cortisol thing, if you're finding that something somewhere in your routine isn't allowing you to see the results that you want, maybe you just quit strength training altogether over the summer and you just focus on walking, eating really yummy, delicious food, and then just taking excellent top shelf care of yourself. And just see where you end up at the end of the summer. Just see. Just see where you end up, because one thing I know for sure is that you can always go back to doing more if you want to. But if you find that doing something else really does make you feel better, then maybe that is what you should have been doing all along. And I'm certainly open to figuring that out for myself. Now, will I personally be abandoning my fitness routine? Like, girl, no, them people at that Pilates studio take that money out of my account every month. So I'm going to keep going over there. I'm going to keep going over there. But I'll be honest and say, will I take a 45-minute walk every single day over the summer? No, I might not have time. My 45-minute walk might come from walking around somebody's something, right? I might walk around the flea market, or I might go to the farmer's market, or I might go to the park and go for a walk. I mean, who knows? I don't know. I might go rollerblading one day, because I did get rollerblades for Christmas or for something. I got rollerblades for something and I love them and I want to go rollerblading. So maybe I'll make time to do that over the summer. There's only so much time in a day. That's what I do know. And if we are meant to have more well-rounded routines, some of it sometimes will absolutely have to give and go, knowing that you can always return back to it. Notice I didn't tell anybody to just eat what they wanted to, because, girl, the eating is where it does go left. So you still got to eat really well. Eat really well. Get those summer salads going. Maybe you might want to make yourself some crudité like the Duchess. I don't know. But take the time over the summer to really pour into yourself. And now for some people, because I've seen this too online, where for some people their time does free up over the summer. So this is the perfect time for them to really dive deep into their fitness routine and their workout routine. And if that's you, then absolutely do that. If that's you, you should absolutely work out. Because I don't want to make anyone think I'm telling them not to if that's what they feel they're being called to do in this season. If you feel like you're being called to like get your steps in and get that strength training done and really dive deep into the fitness of it all over this summer break, then you should absolutely do that. And if you need help with it, you can always reach out to me. But if you've been in the fitness game with me for some time and you're pretty disciplined and you've got a good flow and you're in a good rhythm and you've seen some results and you're happy with how things are going, girl, over the summer, let's try just lightening our loads just a little bit and doing some of the other things that do bring us joy, because that is important too. So I'll be sharing my summer of self-care, or my self-care summer, whatever I'm going to call it. I'll be sharing mine on Instagram. And I might actually share it on my website in the form of a blog, like a diary type thing. I might do that because that's probably way easier than making videos. Making videos. I know I'm like the worst when it comes to being consistent with pushing out content and sharing things. And to be honest with you, that's just because I feel like no one can do it all. No one can do it all. And that is definitely my area of improvement. So I'm going to figure out how to share it in a way that's like doable for me, that I can share it and be consistent with it. So, and I will try to do that. But for now, let's just say it'll be on my website starting June 1st, because I like to write, taking pictures. I'm going to do that anyway. And, yeah, I think it's better than trying to do videos for me. Anyway, editing videos, I don't always have the time to do that. So let me know what y'all think about the self-care summer challenge. I hope you all plan to join in on it. Dip in and dip out of it when you want to and when you can. I would love to see your self-care summer and see what you're doing. Maybe I'll learn something. I'll see some products or some things that I would like to try. And we can just really have a very fun, joy-filled summer together. Now for the workout report. The other day, I was nice enough to be what they call the body for a Pilates exam. One of the instructors at the studio was taking an exam so that she could get promoted, and she needed like a student for her exam, and she asked me to be the student for it. And I was like, sure. She was like, in exchange for being the student, you'll get a few free private sessions because we'll have to practice for the exam. And she was like, and the exam is only 75 minutes. And I was like, okay, girl, that's cool. I got you. Let's do it. The private sessions were amazing. I learned so much about form. I learned a lot of new exercises. I learned a lot about my spine. It was worth it. Well, I can't say it was worth it because I didn't pay for it. But if I had paid for it, I can very well see where that money would have been money well spent. And maybe I will do some private sessions here and there moving forward. Let's fast forward, though, to the day of the exam, which happened to be yesterday. So I get there. The exam is supposed to start at 11. Her and the proctor are chatting about how things are going to go. I'm stretching and drinking water, and I'm getting prepared for this. And I'm like, 75 minutes, that's nothing I can do. I can do 75 minutes. That exam ended up being 2.5 to 3 hours long. And when I mean to tell you that even right now, even though I'm sitting down, and I'm sitting on the floor, I'm not even sitting on like a cushion. Even though I'm sitting down, I can feel the shelf of my glutes, even though I'm sitting down. That is how intense that workout was yesterday. I can feel almost every part of my body. That part of your body that's right behind your armpit, not your lats, not all the way back there, but just that little part that's right there. You turn the curve right behind your armpit. That, I can feel that. And I've never felt that before. That was one of probably the craziest things I have ever done. And I was scheduled for class today. And do you know, before I left that parking lot yesterday, I went right into that app and said, oh, I know who won't be seeing me tomorrow. And that's them over here. And I canceled it because no, I don't have it in me. I'm completely wiped out. I'm exhausted. I was on the Cadillac Reformer. One of the things we did during that exam was you put your feet up in a trapeze type tool. You hold on to the top of the Cadillac Reformer and you pull yourself up. Your lying body is hanging from that thing, and you pull your lying body up. And while that is probably an amazing exercise to do on a regular basis, if you can do it, it felt like it would be. I said to myself as it was happening, I cannot believe I'm doing this. I cannot believe that I'm capable, especially considering that we didn't do that at the beginning. I was probably out of gas by the time we did that. And that's just one of the things we did yesterday. So when I mean to tell you my body is tired today, my body is tired today. Also, I just want to share that the level 2 classes have been going great. And the level 2 classes, in my opinion, are the classes that everybody should be taking. Those classes with the heavier springs, using some of the weights, using some of the other equipment, and just doing all the stuff that we do in those classes give you such a good workout. I'm like, this is the Pilates that people speak about when they talk about changing their bodies. And so I just kind of also wanted to share that if you go to a studio and they offer level 1 classes, level 1.5, level 2, some studios I've noticed even go beyond level 2 and they offer like level 3, level 3.5, 4, whatever. Whatever level, and people should start reading the descriptions, but whatever level the schedule says you start incorporating some of the other apparatus in the studio, maybe you do some work on the chair, you use the magic circle, you use the fitness ball, you're using weights, you might stand up on the reformer in the description. Whatever that is, those are the classes, in my opinion, where they increase the spring weight. And those really start to sculpt and mold you. The only issue with those classes, though, is that you really do need the balance. And so if your balance isn't there, of course, that's dangerous. And nobody wants you to fall off the reformer or fall like in general. But if balance is not of a concern for you, then definitely start trying some of those higher level classes if you have the balance. Because I have noticed the difference between the level 2 and the level 1.5 classes, and the difference is not small. It's pretty significant. And I do have a lot of thoughts and feelings on that, but I don't want this call to be super long. So if you have a Club Pilates chain near you, and I know from conversations I've had with people after I post these episodes, you do. When your studio offers the opportunity to test into the level 2 classes, if you feel like you have strong balance and that you're pretty well coordinated, girl, don't be afraid to take the test. Take the test. And if you test into level 2, start taking level 2 classes. Start taking level 2 classes. I feel like if you take level 2 classes and you're able to take level 2 classes maybe twice a week, those workouts are sufficient enough for you to walk the rest of the week and eat really well. I personally have been doing a level 2 class once a week, a level 1.5 once a week, and then I pick something else. So either like the TRX class, or like they have a class on the schedule called Control, which is supposed to be like bar, but sometimes it's just mat work. So I've been doing that. And then my walking, and I feel like the results from it have been like outstanding. So if you've got a Club Pilates near you, look at the schedule, look at those class descriptions, find out when you can test into level 2, and like, go get it, girl. Because when I mean to tell you, it feels so good to be able to strength train, but not wreak havoc on myself. I'm really loving it a lot for me. Now, before we go, I just have to quickly go through a list of all of the things that I've watched on television that I feel like is worth the mention. Let's put it that way. Some of it might be a little bit much, but, it's entertaining all the same. And like I always say, I love me some good TV time, and I'm never going to apologize for that. But before we talk about TV, for book club this month, we read Waiting to Exhale, and the book club meeting is tomorrow. And I'm so loving the fact that I'm also reading books just as much as I'm watching TV now. Like, I go to have we talked about this? I go to the library. I have my little bag, my little tote bag for the library now. I go, I scan all the books, like anything that I'm interested in learning about. I check out books about it. The other day I went and I checked out books all on, what is it called? Container gardening. I checked out like 3 or 4 books about gardening in containers. And I've been reading them all. I'm going to grow potatoes in a bag. I have to do it because I've seen it in 2 different books and it seems like it's really easy and you get like up to 50 potatoes. Do I need 50 potatoes? No. Will I share them? Absolutely. But I just got to see if I can do it. So I'm so excited about that. And I would not have known how easy that was if not for my public library. So loving the fact that I'm actually like in my reading era just as much as I'm in my Pilates bag right now. But that doesn't mean that I stopped watching TV. I've seen a lot and I'm about to share everything that's worth watching. Number 1, I mentioned this on the episode that didn't get posted. So when I post both of these episodes, you'll have to hear about it twice. My Friends and Neighbors on Apple TV. John Hamm is the star of that show. It is so good. I don't want to really give away what it's about necessarily, but let's just say he is a rich man that, life deals him an unfortunate little turn of an event. Because of that, he finds himself in a situation I know he probably never thought he would be in, and it just kind of spirals out of control from there. But like you're rooting for him. So you have to watch that show. It is so good. Apple TV low-key has a lot of good shows. They don't really advertise them, and I don't know why, but they've got great stuff up there. Of course, I'm going to mention Forever on Netflix because hopefully by now everyone has seen it. Forever on Netflix really does remind you of like a high school love story. If you, I don't want to say if you dated in high school, but I feel like it is a show that reminds you of like what it's like to be like young and in love. And maybe it reminds you also of like the pressures of being a teenager and having to get into college and what am I going to do next with my life and the pressure from your parents and like all of that stuff. The show is just so well done. The parents on that show do a phenomenal job. Dawn, her character is Karen Pittman, and Karen is literally in everything. Karen is also on the morning show, which happens to be on Apple TV. She does a great job in everything she's in. I don't know if she's coming back to And Just Like That because she wasn't in the press for it. They really didn't give her character much of a storyline, so I would understand if she didn't come back. But yeah, I didn't see her in the press for that. So anyway, they do a great job with that show. Mara BAAACCKKK, kudos to her. She always shows up and shows out. And that show just got approved for a 2nd season. So I guess we're going to get more of all of those characters soon. The next show is a show called Sirens, also on Netflix. And Sirens is some white people mess. It is some white people mess mixed with some Tyler Perry mess. Like, if no one had told me, I would have believed Tyler Perry was responsible for that show. But Julianne Moore does such a good job bringing that main character to life. It's like, even though you're watching some mess, you can't stop watching it. And then at the end of the show, like after the last episode is done, you sit there and you say to yourself, I just sat through all of that for this. But it's so good that you have to sit through it. So like, don't let me saying that keep you from checking it out. You should totally watch it. Sit down, binge it with some snacks, whatever, on a rainy summer day. Like, girl, it'll be worth it because it's good, but it's also like, it's a mess. Like it's a mess. And I will always watch rich white people fumble. I will watch it every time because if I can watch us do it, I can watch them do it too. And the show was kind of well done, but like in that messy way that we kind of don't like. And you know what I mean when I say that. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, you ain't seen enough Tyler Perry stuff. The next show is a show called Secrets We Keep, also on Netflix. Now, this show is about a couple families who all have housekeepers. Again, some rich white people mess. They all have housekeepers. Something happens to one of the housekeepers, and it's kind of like a what happened and who done it kind of thing. Give it a watch because I was very surprised at who did it and what happened. and I don't want to give too much of it away. It is one of those shows, though, that I think is done in another language. So they like have the English scrubbing of the script like over it. So the mouths don't always match the words, but I also feel like Netflix does a good job of making that barely noticeable. So watch it with subtitles on if you feel like you have to. Great show, kind of shocking, but worth the watch. I also watched the Tylenol Murders, the docuseries. It's 3 episodes. It's also on Netflix. I don't even remember this being in the news, but apparently it was. And I had no idea somebody was lacing the Tylenol with cyanide poisoning and people were dying. Oh my gosh. I cannot imagine. But the story of that is on Netflix now. If you've never heard about it or seen it before, it's a lot. But I felt like it was at least informative on some level. And then lastly, I also watched the Untold episode all about Brett Favre, who apparently was like, I don't know, America's hero, I guess, for football at some point, but who is also apparently an awful person, which I knew about his recent dealings with stealing from the U.S. government. I don't know whatever happened to him. I don't know if he got in trouble, if he was fined, if they made him pay the money back, was he arrested? I don't know. I know he had to go before Congress and testify, but apparently when he went to Congress to testify, people was up there asking that man for his autograph and like celebrating him for his achievement on the football field, instead of looking at him in disgust for stealing money from people who needed welfare support. So I don't get it. But apparently he's a womanizer. He has cost more than 2 women I can remember to lose their jobs. And of course, they were blacklisted after they lost their jobs because he was stalking one of them. She never even met him. But he was like stalking her. He was texting her, leaving her voicemails. He was cyber stalking that woman. And when she reported him to HR, because that is what one does when their coworker is stalking them, she was fired and then blacklisted. So if you have not seen that, give it a watch, because that too was somewhat informative, but just like the disgust of it all. And I would use that as a segue to talk about some of the trifling men that are all over timelines right now on social media. But because I don't take good enough notes to really report journalism on that level, I'm going to direct everyone over to Ratchet and Respectable, where Demetria does a fabulous job of like pulling up the legal documents, reading them to us, helping us understand them, giving us the updates and all of that. That's who I listen to find out what's going on with everybody in their court situations. I listen to all of that. But what I will just say before we wrap this up is that I would like to believe that the women in the lives of these men, well, they're not in their lives anymore, but hopefully they're moving on and up to better and bigger things, and they're not letting these situations hold them in a place that they don't deserve to be. So I think that's it for this summer self-care episode. I'm going to post this one and I'm going to post another one at the same time. So girl, you listen at your leisure, you catch up. And regardless of what it seems like, I just want everybody to know that I make an effort to be at least consistent with this. But sometimes, I have 3 kids and it really do get busy around here. Gets busy around here. So I'm going to do better. I'm going to try anyway. So yeah, when you're out, compliment a woman, say something nice to her, make her day, make her the moment. Don't compete, don't compare, don't complain. What God has for you is for you. And never knock another woman's hustle, even if it is Jennifer Lopez. That lady deserves a little bit of love too. No? Yes? Maybe? Well, are y'all gonna get mad at me for saying that? I feel like she deserves it. We need to cut that lady some slack. We need to cut that lady some slack. And I'll talk to you on the next episode. I just remembered something that I wanted to talk about, but we are out of time. I need to get out of this closet because it's hot in here. So I'll talk to y'all on the next episode. Thank you for checking out Tia's Table. Remember to rate this podcast and share it with your friends. And I will talk to you on the next episode. Love you, girl. Bye.